Hi. Hi there. Is that a beer you're drinking?
Why, yes, it is. It is a Old Mother seasonal IPA, 6.5 alcohol, and it is delicious. Look at the can, though. The colors, for the folks that are tuning into the live stream, these are some of my favorite primary colors.
I should probably get a drink. I'd probably feel better if I had a drink.
I
Maybe
think
I'll drink.
you should. You should. Do you want to tell people about the coolest thing you did a couple weeks ago?
Well, a couple weeks ago was Valentine's Day.
Fast forward a couple weeks ago so this episode is out on April 6th. What did you do
Yeah,
on 311 day?
I forgot it was 311 Day. Oh yeah. Yeah, we played. We played at Old Mother. That was fun.
Who's we? I didn't
Good.
play. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing played, and we uh
We're great.
def we, we definitely played. I try to get people to clap. I think it kind of worked to varying degrees. Then when I popped up on a table, that was a game changer.
Yeah, I don't think people were expecting that at all.
They weren't, especially the people sitting at the table,
It was amazing.
which I didn't really consider until today. So
Well, it's about a month after, so I'm glad you have some good retrospective and insight to
I
yourself,
know.
Colin. That's important. But you know what else is important? Mother lovers get more because right now you can join Old Mother Brewing Company's free loyalty program because nobody loves points more than Colin. Just not on your
It's true.
license or on your record or on your mortgage. But you get
Hey,
1 point for every $1 spent. That's a lot of points. And so for every essentially $50 you spend, you get $5 off. You get a welcome bonus of 25 points. You get a birthday discount, which, by the way, Colin, your birthday was like amazing, and I had so much fun with you. Just kidding, it's coming up here soon.
I
You
was
can write
gonna
him.
say,
You can send him
God
gifts to
damn.
could be better studios at 123 Sesame Street. But you also get a double point day on Wednesday, which is great because that's when we used to tape the podcast, and now we just go drink beers at Old Mother on Wednesdays, and we each get double points. It's amazing.
Yeah, you can find us there doing live versions of the podcast, talking to the wall every
Uh,
Wednesday night.
It's just you, me, and Olivia. She just
Yeah.
she just talks about her whole life. Olivia is one of our favorite bartenders there, and she can't wait to be on the podcast.
I really, literally none of the bartenders know who I am,
I know they
but
just
that's
listen
okay.
to they listen to the podcast. They don't watch it.
Didn't
They don't
we,
know.
did we talk to somebody who listens to the podcast last night?
I mean, not last night, but at the show on 311, we might have. I don't think I was with you.
Wow. No, I thought I was with you because you were explaining to somebody that it was me.
Oh no,
Um,
that was the bartender. But yeah, we were just talking.
oh, then she did not seem to care. She did not seem to care. 311 Day, though, we should have played an all 311 set. That would have been a lot of fun. I'm going to give it dead air until you say
No,
something.
I mean 311 days overrated. I think the best 11 day is 7-Eleven day, and that's when you get a free Slurpee. But it's just a small Slurpee, so it's not as cool as it used to be.
7-Eleven was an inside job. That all the way
Speak,
back.
dude. And
Anyway.
speaking of inside jobs, man, Texas Roadhouse. What
Oh
an
man,
awesome season to sponsor. We've given away so many gift cards. We've given
that's true.
it's been wild. I just had a listener use their gift card this weekend, and she said that it was delicious.
Really? Who was
Mhm.
that?
Her name's Karen. Shout out to Karen, listener of the podcast, and first person to respond on our YouTube video a couple weeks ago, and won a gift card. It was really cool.
How much did she get?
I mean, we're not going to disclose. I mean, if
Oh
people want
man,
to go back and listen, it may or may not have been $10.
you're being a real Karen, you know.
Listen, I can say without a doubt, the worst type of Karens are Karens with a C. You know who you
Oh,
are.
uh-oh. Wow. And he winked. I think he's doing some sex things. That's very
Check.
odd.
My hands
Very
are up.
odd.
My hands are up. My hands are up. You can see all 10 fingers. Um, but this episode, is not with the Karen. This is with our friend Rachel from Feed the Scene from Baltimore.
Be
Rachel has
the
been,
scene.
man, she's been doing stuff forever. And from housing bands at her awesome house to booking tons of cool shows all across Baltimore. Literally feeding the scene. That was like a big thing. And we kind of get into that a little bit, kind of like what that was like, what that is like. But then what's cool is now there's a GoFundMe for the saving the Sidebar. So she has been definitely not in her words, but has been a savior to the city of Baltimore for saving a piece of punk rock history, keeping a venue alive and doing the Lord's work. So we're grateful for her and grateful for the things that she's doing for Baltimore, and grateful she came on the show because she has a million things to do because she is truly a hustler. So I really,
Hustler.
I really enjoyed that. Did you watch that movie with Jennifer Lopez, by the way, Hustlers?
No, it was
Yeah, I
about
didn't.
strippers, wasn't it? I
I
don't
guess.
watch anything above PG-13. I do not watch it.
What was the last? What was the last PG-13 movie you watched?
Um, Showgirls.
uh, there's something. One of the chicks that was in Showgirls directed something recent, and I was like, "Whoa! Like, why are you still alive?" But she
Oh,
is.
so your position is anybody who is in Showgirls should die.
No, no, no. Is dead.
Well, not Jesse from Saved by the Bell.
No,
She
no,
was
no,
in.
no. But what's funny about Saved by the Bell? I don't know. It's old news at this point, but Ben Savage is running for a seat
Yeah,
in California.
yeah, and I
Which
think he's not going to win. What?
I was going to say, do you think he's going to win? And would you vote for him if you lived in California?
I sure I'd vote for him. But I guess he's run for other political office in recent times, and he's gotten slapped, had those cheeks slapped.
But he's not the popular Savage. Is that wrong to say?
That's pretty savage of you to say.
Hey,
Hey, he didn't
I
create It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so
no. Honestly, Rob McElhenney or Charlie Day, they could probably win an office in Pennsylvania, or at least in the city of Philadelphia.
it's true. They can also own a soccer team.
It's
Look
called
at that.
football. It's called football. Do you
Wrexham, Wexham, Wrexham.
do you think you and I could? Okay, so hear
Welcome
me
to.
out. Hear me out. What if the Frederick Keys get worse? And let's
Not
say like
possible.
let's say the MLB even decides to make minor league sports even more of an afterthought, and there is actually no true affiliation with anything, and it's just a dumpster fire of a team. And if this sounds too close to home, I'm sorry, but would you buy the Frederick Keys with me?
Yeah, I think we could do that because then we could run shows at the ballpark.
Dude, we could literally put on shows where Bob Dylan played there, right?
Yeah, that was something I had tried to pitch when I was doing all that stuff for
Pitch,
people.
pitch. Ha, ha.
Pitch. Yeah, I know. And there were a little bit of talks. It's a logistical nightmare from what I understand. But there are package tours that go out every summer. And they only do minor league ballparks. I also
Hmm.
heard Collective Soul was there once.
Yeah. Yeah, I did hear that too. They played Shine and everybody freaked out, and then everyone left
Uh-huh.
because do they
Uh-huh.
have another song?
Uh-huh. Yeah, they do.
They don't.
Yeah, just the world I know. When I walk upon a high and I have on the air
I
and I
think you're.
need a rainy fall.
No, that's Creed. That's higher for sure.
No, I heard higher the other day at the liquor store. It's so odd. The liquor store person now knows my name, my first name, and it freaks me out. I think I've talked about this before on this podcast.
Well, I mean, they're listeners, so I mean, obviously they know you.
Yeah, that's it. It has nothing to do with the raging drinking or the speaking of raging drinking, you had a cocktail at Old Mother. How was the cocktail?
It was delicious. It was the margarita cocktail, and I got a little bit of a behind the scenes how stuff is made, how they're working on things. If you happen to get any cocktail and you didn't like it, suck on a brick. But at the end of the day,
Wow.
they are constantly improving the process, and so be patient as they're doing things super new and super different, because Old Mother is always trying some cool things and doing new things because that's what they do. But we're now going to get to our guests. So Rachel is going to come in here and she's going to talk about saving the sidebar, how listeners, you can get involved, how you can be a part of things. And I think she sent us a song. So if she didn't, here it is. And if she did, here it is.
Been a crazy year, to say the least, locked inside with fear. On a leash, missing all my friends and happy times. Get lost in my thoughts about shows, Greg's not running sound. At the depot, the clubs are all closed down. And now my eyes are closing too. Mr. Sandman, please take me back to the sidebar. There's some friends waiting for me, and I won't have to drive far. In the heart of my city, urban crater, Chicago, old big thrashers that I know, setting up for the punk show. Set me up with Jack and Coke. Tracking drums myself, I write bass lines, keep my mental health on pace. My songs are on a shelf for the meantime. Every night I dream of normal. Rachel feeds the scene like normal. Kaylee messaged me to ask if I can play a show. Then I wake up. Take me back to the sidebar. There's some friends waiting for me, and I won't have to drive far. In the heart of my city, urban crater, Chicago, old bay thrashers that I know, setting up for the punk show. Set me up with Jack and Coke. Stifle Biff and idle minds are shuffled on my phone, with Grace spaced in and Lane and Chaz, Monroe and Strong Zero. Take me back to the sidebar. There's some friends waiting for me, and I won't have to drive far. In the heart of my city, urban crater, Chicago, old big thrashers that I know, setting up for the punk show. Set me up with Jack and Coke. Take me back, take me back, take me back, take me back.
Hey, we forgot because we're tired and old and sleepy. We have some shows coming up, which again is why people listen to the podcast, because they don't want to check our calendar, which is at couldbebettermeh.com/shows. But we have a bunch of shows coming up. Next weekend is
Soul will
God.
be an Old Mother.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, we have all those slot Cosmic Halitosis and Average Joey on the 14th of April, 6:30 p.m. You know the drill. The next weekend we have Mr. Husband, the Smashing Times and Good Time Jordy, on April 22nd. We have the Milestones, Tough Junior. Just kidding. Milestones, Glory, Glory, and Films on Song, which was on our show last week on May 5th at Old Mother, 6:30 p.m. Again, 21 plus to drink, all ages to attend, free. And then finally, for that first weekend in May, we have High Noon, Kahuna, Dosser, and Gaspers on the 6th of May. It's going to be awesome. So check our website for more information. Facebook event links are up there. You can see what's coming up down the pike. And now let's get into our interview with Rachel from Feed the Scene. Save the sidebar. Give her money.
Mesmerized. I'm mesmerizing you with my flame.
It's a look. We're here with
No,
Rachel from Feed the
okay.
Scene.
I thought I was bringing it in, but fuck it. Hi, Rachel. How
It's
are
already
you?
been berotten.
I know. First he says you're pounding on the desk too hard, and then he fucked over my intro. So what am I supposed to do? So, well, first things first. Why do you like music?
Music gave me a place to be when I was a weird kid. And I probably wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that. So I want to make sure that other people have that opportunity to be a weird kid in a community full of other weird kids who like to hit each other in rooms
Whoa.
for really fast
I
music.
don't know what you're into, but I'm into it. That's uh so you know, if you kind of made this your life's work, being able to do this, and we're gonna get into these
Pretty much.
projects and things, like is it they say if you find a job you really love, you never have to work a day in your life. Is that your
No,
life?
if you find a job you love, you will work 24 hours a day and answer emails on the toilet.
Wow. I think I gotta go poop now.
She
That's
gets it. She gets
uh,
it.
so okay. So how many poop emails have you written in your life?
Oh God, I can't
Not
even.
in your life today. Today. We need to know today.
Luckily, none today. Luckily, none today. I
Oh
took most of
man.
today off. We're in a
From
kind of
pooping?
weird lull period with everything right now until we start again on Monday. So I gave myself permission to take the day.
Wow. That's good. And because you wanted to talk to us, right?
Also, that
That
very clearly, also
good
that.
good save. Good save
Yeah.
on that.
For those tuning into the live feed, Rachel is definitely not pooping on the toilet right now. So
I'm not.
it's
We
I'm sitting
can't
in an
see
office.
what's behind her though, to be
I mean, I can
fair. It is
unblur
all
that. I just
blurry.
didn't think you'd want to see my very
I don't have
bulging.
anything, but I have Donatello, my friend
I'm
Donnie, my only friend.
I'm a big fan of the blur, so it's all good. You can't see my trash can or my laundry machine.
Oh yeah,
behind me,
no, my
so
office is very dirty right now. I haven't had time to
yeah.
clean it.
Yeah. So Rachel, you and I have known each other, I think, for years at this point. I
Oh
think we
yeah,
my old band played at least a handful of shows with
I
Feed
actually
the
got a
Scene.
Facebook memory yesterday from one of the shows that you
Look at
played.
that.
Oh.
When you open for Collective Soul.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either the Depot because we played
It
a bunch of
was. It
shows.
was that one.
Okay, yeah,
Samuel Powers.
Yes, that's awesome. So the fun thing, and I was telling Colin this before we started taping in our pre-show meeting, there was a time. So you were doing this, and maybe you still kind of do it, but essentially you would house bands on tour.
Oh yeah,
You
no, I still do that.
yeah.
That was 3 bands last week.
That's awesome. Who are the bands? Are you able to share?
Yeah, we had Glazed and we had Horsies. I believe it's Horsies. They're from France. And
Bonjour.
the other band, my brain is completely. Oh, American
Collective
Television.
Soul. Oh.
American Television. Shout
Oh,
out.
American
Yeah.
Television. I know those dudes. We know those dudes.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah. So I remember seeing like, oh, Rachel's doing these cool things. Like she's booking all these cool shows. Like she's feeding bands. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. And then but then they're staying in their house. I'm like, this is cool. And I'm like, but wait a minute. Like I live like 45 minutes away. Like there's no way I can never find a way to stay at
That's
her
so
place.
not true. I've had Baltimore bands who are like, we're going to all stay at your house tonight. It's okay. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, as long as no one else who is legitimately out of town needs the beds, like,
Sure.
your band can come have a sleepover at my house if they want.
That's awesome. And I feel like I missed that, but it was,
No,
that was,
we'll have
I
a
was
could be better sleepover.
You
We'll
could
bring
totally
the
do
whole
that. You could have
podcast.
a podcast from the living room.
Right. Perfect. And then we'll fall asleep.
Yeah. I have so
Watching-
many bunk beds.
Perfect.
So I mean, so you're saying you kind of wanted to have a community that you built essentially with Feed the Scene, and now it's like you have a place where you're housing bands and doing all these other things. How did like the housing of bands process start? Like,
Well, the whole entire thing has a sort of strange history. Feed the Scene was supposed to be a food truck. Very
Tacos?
clearly, we are not a food truck.
Wow.
But the entire initial point was we wanted to feed people. It was me and a friend who I am no longer friends with anymore. But we were like, we're gonna feed bands and we're gonna have a food truck and we're gonna basically set up outside of music venues, and we'll let the music venues know that we'll feed their bands for free if they let us feed their customers for money, which seemed like a reasonable trade.
Yeah.
And then the truck would have like music of shows that were coming up so people could hear it and kind of get to know what was happening. But then we found out how hard it was to make a food truck in 2011, and that was not a real thing. And it never happened. But so we actually started bringing food to shows, or we invited people over to my house to eat before shows. And then eventually that morphed into people staying at my house. And when we first got there, like I had a room full of air mattresses. So it was like playing popcorn in the middle of the night while people were trying to go to the bathroom. Like you'd be sleeping and someone would step on the end of your air mattress and your hair's like in the head and they're like, wah!
Wow. What are they like again?
Yeah, it was like a lot.
They're like, wow.
Yeah. So eventually you upgraded to bunk beds, and that's kind of where you're at now.
So then I realized that we had fairly tall ceilings and we could actually deal with bunk beds. So we did a Kickstarter in 2012, I think. And we raised like $6,000 and we bought 4 sets of bunk beds. So I got 8 bunks in a room. And then somewhere like 2015, 2016, I think, I got the double decker sofas. So both the sofas in my living room cantilever into another set of beds. So I can house another 4 people in my living room in my double decker sofas.
Colin, did you know they make double decker sofas?
No,
I did.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I
everyone
don't.
comes in like, it's like being in a Lego movie, except you're at my house.
I am excited to bring the Could Be Better podcast to the double decker sofa. That is
Oh,
all.
100%. You should sit on the top sofa.
Yes, because I have to have at least a couple of ways of separation from Colin. Because if we're too close, that's not a good time.
That's how you get a black hole, I think.
Yes, that's right. So tell me how you get from you're housing bands, the food truck thing didn't work, to then essentially like booking Method Man and Redman, right?
Oh, yeah. So to get to that progression, we basically, I fed and housed people for a year, and then the first show I ever booked was actually at the Sidebar. It was the Feed the Scene 1 year anniversary of housing bands show, and I basically had bands play that had stayed at the house. And I booked 12 bands in one day, and it was a very stupid idea because I had never ever booked a show in my life. And by 7 p.m., I didn't want to be there anymore. I was so tired. And then my headliner dropped because they had a family emergency. So I had to find someone at the very, very last minute. And this was like, back in 2011 or 12 at this point. So like, Bumpin' Uglies who are around here. I called up Brandon and I was like, hey, are you guys playing anything tonight? Can you like roll over and finish out this show? And sure enough, for the remaining food I had cooked for everyone and some beer, they rolled up and headlined the first ever Feed the Scene fest.
That's awesome.
And that's the community I'm talking about. People who are willing to pitch in and help and feel a sense of self together.
Yeah. And it's like your shows are different. They're not like the same bands and it's not the same community, but you do have enough of like repeat customers, essentially repeat bands where it's like, oh, I know they're going to be playing this show. They're going to be doing this thing. They're bringing this type of vibe to your shows. And it's also kind of, it's like you're there for most of them, if not all of them. And it's just like you walk in and you're like, oh, like I know this is a safe place. This is a cool spot to go, even if it is like, not that there's anything wrong with the depot, but like when you go into that first or you walk by it outside, you're like, like what kind of place is this kind of thing?
That place looks interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also realistically, like how you put a show together is somewhat the signature of your, I don't want to call it promotion and art because that is giving it a little too much credit, but it is how you are presenting your art, or how you're presenting everyone else's art. You can do a mixed bill show just fine as long as what's on the mixed bill has some thread of continuity and makes some sort of sense. The worst thing you can do is put together a 4-band show and have every band, the crowd, 1/4 of it rotates outside to smoke.
Oh, no, the worst thing you could do is book 12 bands in one day.
That is also true. And then have your headliner cancel from a family emergency.
There's this thing up here in Frederick that I did 3 years in a row, and I booked, I think the biggest it got was 45 bands in a day. And I've not recovered all these years later.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Constantly being on the move. So then, from that first show that I ever booked, at that point I was already feeding people's bands at like the Charm City Art Space. So
rip.
Right. Gosh. I made sushi in the Charm City Art Space. It was all vegetarian, so there was no raw meat in the art space. But still,
yeah. But
they bombed the music industry sushi in the art space.
There were so many cool shows that shouldn't have been in that building.
Oh yeah, not at all.
And it was awesome. And now isn't it like a fancy restaurant now?
No, that's what's next door. What it is it's a tattoo shop now.
Oh, huh. I mean, fitting, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's still community based.
Sure.
But that was a very sad day. I think the owner of the building told us that we had to take everything out so we could fix the roof. And then when we got there to take everything out, there was a sign on the building that was like, hear ye, this is going to be a tattoo shop. And we were all like, oh.
Jeez. So how'd you get then from booking your first show to, I mean, the Method Man Redman show, I thought I saw it and I was like, this is fucking wild. Like not like every detail, but like like how, I mean, we're talking
So,
years.
we ended up working with a couple of people who are a part of Feed the Scene who are into hip hop, and that is their first love language is hip hop. So, you know, they asked if we could expand genres, and I was like, okay. I mean, I'm the organizational part. Like, I can organize anything. So if you have the contacts and you know what you want to put together, we can put that together. So like, I don't get credit for deciding we were going to do that. That was someone else's desire, and then we went and hunted down the contacts and got it done. But we did 9 shows with Method Man and Redman, and then one full Wu-Tang show.
Wow.
Which
Sounds
is so
expensive. That sounds
Yeah.
wildly expensive.
Yes, but it was really fun and it was very exciting, and I really learned a lot. Some of them were painful, expensive lessons, but some of them were really, just lessons on how to better operate and do what I was doing.
would you do it again?
Oh, definitely. It's
That's
just,
the
again,
best.
also almost cost prohibitively expensive on a startup. And most of my resources, aside from what's been donated, are currently dedicated to the Sidebar, because we
Right.
can't we can't only work in the time frame of what our donations allow, or we'd never ever get the bar finished, and that's not the right answer. So,
Right.
Well, let's get into the sidebar then. So you're sort of heading up this revitalization effort, correct? Can you
so
tell the
technically, I'm the owner, but for all intents and purposes, Feed the Scene Foundation has bought the Sidebar.
Okay.
The reason we had the nonprofit buy the Sidebar is because we want to make sure that it doesn't have to support an owner. There's no profit. It has to subsist, and whatever money is left over can be used to fund shows or make improvements to the bar. I can't, Rachel Taft cannot take money out of the Sidebar unless I'm working in the Sidebar. Like, I get a paycheck if I'm managing the bar or if I am,
Sure.
running the calendar or something. But like, if the bar makes X amount of dollars in the month, I can't just take it out because I feel like it and that's my money. It has
How
its own separate set of accounts, and the whole point is that we recognize that certain things are not specifically profitable, and that doesn't mean that they don't need to exist. Music needs a place to begin, and if it doesn't have that, then what do we do? They, ever since we had the ghost ship fire in California and Oakland, they cracked down. They closed the Bell Foundry immediately. And it's been hard for any of the smaller art spaces and underground venues to really stay or have any sort of longevity. So they can't really grow a booking history. And also, those are the kind of things that people cycle out in 4 years because they're largely college student based run. And if no one wants to do it, then it kind of disappears. So realistically, the whole point of this is, I keep saying the whole point, there's so many points. But a large portion of this is to make sure that, because we can't guarantee that these underground venues are going to exist and things like that Charm City Art Space don't exist anymore, we have to make sure that this is a very safe place that is structurally sound and secure, that no one can take from us, and that isn't relying on making someone money to exist, because it doesn't matter. It needs to be there. And things don't only need to be profitable to be good.
so how first of all, how far along in the process are you? And second of all, what is the absolute best case scenario pie in the sky ribbon cutting reopening ceremony? When does that happen? Best case scenario.
So the main issue right now that we're facing is just however long it arbitrarily takes the city to grant permits. It's not a specifically linear exact time frame process. So we have to we oh, when we first took over the space,
Oh,
it was covered in black mold and parts of it were falling apart, and all of the utilities systems were in dire trouble. So at this point, we have done like $20,000 to $30,000 worth of work just unfucking it, for a better term.
Yeah.
So we don't entirely know how long it's going to take. I hope we'll be open at some point this year, but I just don't know. We have to redo all of the electrical. We had to remove the entire gas line. Like I had to get the street dug up to disconnect the gas line. We had to move the water main. We still have other pipes that are coming in the wall that we don't understand what they are. I have a utility investigation open with the Department of Public Works. Um, we so I don't know if you ever been in the basement of the Sidebar, but when you come in, there's first the merch area and the bathrooms, then you go downstairs and it's the main bar area where the stage is, and then in the back of the sound booth there's another door that goes down a whole other level. There's another 1,000 square feet of space downstairs.
What was down there before?
Just garbage. Well, so at one point a long time ago there was a kitchen in there. Yeah, but obviously it wasn't gross then. It was cleaned, but it has not been cleaned in a long time. So at some point all of the stoves and fridges and stuff were hauled away, but the hood system was still installed. But a portion of the sub basement is outside of the footprint of the building and it's directly under the sidewalk. So like 440 square feet of space is directly under the sidewalk, and there's no waterproofing in between the sidewalk and the ceiling of that room. So it just rains directly into it. Like just right into there. So everything was rusty. That's why we had to shut off the gas main almost immediately when we did our building inspection, because our building inspector found a gas leak. If we hadn't done that building inspection, the whole building would have exploded.
Jeez. And yeah. And it feels like every day is probably a new thing that you find out that like probably gives you a stress migraine. So I appreciate.
Oh yeah, there used to be a bathroom where the merch area was. So we found the old toilet flange hanging from the ceiling below when we took the ceiling off from below. The floors underneath the bathrooms are completely rotted out. And any of the toilets could have fallen through at any time, which is super exciting and fun for everyone. That whole mezzanine level, we have to rip it out, all of it, and relay the subfloor and new flooring and reinstall the bathrooms. Like it's just way more involved than we thought it was going to be. We thought we were going to like go in and put a couple of support beams in the basement and everything would be hunky dory, and that's not real. Like this is a serious construction undertaking at this point.
Yeah. And so we know you have a good group of folks that are supporting you from like doing these construction projects and all these kind of work and stuff like that, which is amazing because honestly,
the coolest part about all of that is almost every single person contractor wise that has been a part of this project is either in a band, has gone to shows at Sidebar, has booked or played or whatever shows at Sidebar. So everyone is very vested in the outcome of it. Like our gas fitter and plumber is in, I believe, in a band, or he's played shows. Our electrician is a musician. All our electricians are either musicians or had been played shows. Our contractors have been shows at Sidebar. Our architect has seen shows at Sidebar. Like part of the people on her staff have seen shows at Sidebar. One of our structural engineers had seen shows there. Like it's weird. The people from the Baltimore Development Corporation who are helping us expedite permits, they've seen shows at Sidebar. Like it's very weird how many people this place has touched, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah, and it's just kind of shows like music connects us all, no matter who it is. So I'm sure there's a bunch of just suits that are doing stuff.
Don't worry, kids, you can have a real adult job someday and still go to punk shows.
And still support your local music scene.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Eat shit for people that think like once you grow up and have kids, you can't be a part of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So we have people who bring their children to shows.
That's how it should be. That's how, raise them right.
Raise them right. Mosh pits. They're so cute.
So tell me, so right now, so you have support from people doing the work, doing the things, super grateful for all of that. The GoFundMe, which again is all in the show notes here, which we will push on our end as well. That's the best way for people to get involved now?
Yes, right now. We may have more opportunities to help out once we get through the actual like contractor part of things, but the bar doesn't have that many like walls or things that we really needed to demo. So, people want to volunteer and help it, and I very much respect that. But the building survived the fire of 1904, so we have to be very, very careful with it. And some of that needs to be done by people who are like in their licensed bonded contractor mode, where we have like a contract and real parameters, for legality's sake. We wouldn't want to put someone in a situation where they were demoing something and something went wrong, and then we were left in a weird legal limbo between us, the landlord, and whoever did the thing. So we just want to make sure that everyone's safe and covered until we get to a point where, like, when we get to drywall, we might be able to have people help with that or something kind of thing. But like the structural stuff, we just, we want to be very careful with it.
Sure. So we'll put that link in the show notes so people can please give the Sidebar your money, help save the Sidebar, help save Rachel's sanity.
Also, just in case anyone's worried, I'm not taking any dollars from this entire project. I have been working for free since December of last year on this entire project, and I will not take any money for this project. So if you're donating money, all of it goes directly to the Sidebar. When we're done, there will be a full public accounting of where all the funds, what came in, what went out, and where it went. So if anyone ever has any questions, we have full transparency of where all the money is going, like penny to penny to penny, and none of it is going to me. So you are not paying me to sit here and do this. You're paying the contractors to fix the bar. I'm just spearheading the project.
Yeah. Can you run for office, please? please. Okay. So this is exciting. This is a lot of work. The last question I'm going to ask you before we get into our next segment is, when do you think we're going to see our first mosh pit at the Sidebar?
I already asked that, Chris. 12/17.
Wait, did she answer?
I said technically we had one in December, but we had to immediately close again. I misbooked a show and we threw it in the Sidebar before we had done any of the construction and then pulled it right back out. So realistically, I hope that we have something by the end of the year. I just don't know. And we also don't want to open until we are like 3 months booked out, because we don't want to open to like it needs to be like we have 3 solid months of decently booked programming, so people are into the bar and they come back and they feel comfortable there and they're regularly coming again, so we don't like get people to come out one time and then they fizzle away. Like we need to give them solid programming and shows for them to be here for. So we want to pretty much start as we mean to go on. So once we have a better idea of how long those permits are going to take to get, then we'll have a better idea of when we can even conceive of being open.
Sure.
She already said that, Chris. Do you listen to the podcast?
No, I was up.
Later.
I'm going to watch it later, and I was up at 4 a.m. this morning because my kid decided he didn't want to sleep. So, speaking of not wanting to sleep, we're going to get into our specialties question segment with our sponsor for this season, Specialties, Special-Tees. You can get all of your printing, merch, design, whatever you want to do, heart's desire, from special-tees.com. You get 10% off your first order if you tell them Could Be Better sent you. Rachel, this is the most important part of our segment, where I'm just prepared. Truly you get some random crazy questions, and they're not really random because I'm pretty vanilla. So you're going to get something that's all kind of like reasonable in your warehouse. Colin, wild card. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to start. You're going to ask five rapid fire questions. Answer them quickly. Don't think about them too much. I know stream of consciousness, so this will be great. First question: what's your favorite thing to stir up on Facebook?
I fight conservatives on Facebook. I'm currently in an argument right now with people about drag queens.
Oh God, yeah, polluting our kids' minds today. Let me tell you.
What is your favorite thing to cook?
I just made a giant batch of my mother's chicken soup. It's a family recipe, and it is one of the things that I find most comforting.
Okay. Bucket list band for you to book for Feed the Scene.
Oh God, that's hard. That's like asking people to pick a child. Like, I booked a lot of my bucket list bands, so I don't have a whole lot left.
That's awesome.
I would mostly have like a bucket festival where it's like I would like to make a festival out of all my bucket list bands.
Hey, that's cool. Call it Bucket Fest. All right, Colin, this is you. Question 4.
What, when you go out, is one thing you won't eat?
What do I not eat?
Anything, any type
I don't like hot dogs.
That's, come on, man.
Hey, Rachel,
Stop with this shit, man.
Are hot dog sandwiches?
No, hot dogs are tacos.
All right, final question. So you were talking about reopening the Sidebar that's going to be opening this year because people that again missed it the first time and didn't listen to it the second
Hey,
time.
ask her again. Who's listening, fucko?
We'll find out. So again sometime this year we're gonna have 3 months of special programming that's gonna be awesome. There's gonna be a response of bands wanting to get in on this awesome, not new but revitalized venue that's in Baltimore. What do you need to see from new bands that are like hitting you up? Because I'm sure it's a lot. I'm sure that they're hitting you up on.
Oh, I have a much better solution to this. So what we plan to do is pull a lot of the Charm City art space into Sidebar. I actually emailed Mike Riley, who's the original founder of the Charm City art space, and got all of his organizational documents. And the art space had a collective of promoters. So what we want is not so much for them to be sending us stuff, is come be a part of the collective of promoters. Learn how to promote, learn how to not be a predator to your own community, but ethically put together a show. You know, bars the size of Sidebar house micro genres. Mm-hmm. Like, we're 100 cap room max, so we're not getting giant shows. So I don't know how to book a doom metal show. That's not real. I book pop punk and ska, and I don't need to know how to book that. But there are people that love those genres, and they should be able to see what emails are coming into the venue and what shows they want to take. And that's the way that the art space did it. You know, people learned how and were part of the community, and they belonged to the space. And I think that Sidebar needs to do that. People need to, it's theirs too. I'm just making sure it exists. It's not just mine, it's everybody's.
My heart just grew like 3 sizes too big. I think that's just the most, like, shut up, Colin. This is this is like, that makes me so happy because I think that's so important. And I also love,
once we get closer to like a real opening date, we'll put a call out and be like, hey, anyone who's interested in being part of the space, if you want to work the door, or if you want to, you know, learn how to be a promoter, or just, you know, be an assistant to other people promoting so you can learn how to do it. Like, I want people to feel vested in this space because it needs people to survive. Like, it needs lifeblood. And I've been going to shows at Sidebar since I was 17, and I just turned 42. Yeah. Like, that's a really long time.
And you've learned things along the way. You've gotten better at it. It's an awesome thing. And I'm glad you exist, and I'm glad you're doing this in Baltimore. I do want to say one thing, because you said you were going to teach people how not to be predators. I am excited for that 60-second TED Talk because it's not hard. It's really not that hard. But for some reason, it is.
Don't be a predator to your own community.
It's really not that hard.
Someone does have to take physical responsibility for the show, but you don't have to screw over your friends to do that. You don't.
Yeah, preach it. All right, Rachel, we're going to get out of here now. Thank you so much. There are tons of links that are going to be in the show notes for where you can find Feed the Scene, where you can find Rachel, where you can save the Sidebar and put, I guess, maybe your name on the bathroom wall. Is essentially, it's not going to be a brick that you'll do, but you can write your name somewhere.
You put your band sticker. You can throw some graffiti in there. It's great.
Yeah. We're gonna go link all that in the show notes here. So for folks that are listening or driving, it's coming up. You don't have to look for it later. The last thing, Rachel, that I will say is thank you so much for literally doing the work that needs to be done, unpaid. I'm sure you're juggling and hustling a whole bunch of other stuff, but your efforts don't go unseen, and
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You should feel appreciated because you are doing amazing stuff. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking about this.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome. All right. This song is from our bootleg from our show a while ago, and it's from our lovely friends in Kite Wave. So enjoy. Rachel, thanks for coming on. Support Feed the Scene, save the Sidebar.
Thank you.
Headphones in. Stimulation.
Could Be Better podcast is allegedly heard in 25 different countries around the world, and definitely still not recorded in a bedroom.
Yeah, okay. Still, check out our worldwide website, www.couldbebettermeh.com, for links to our social media and our fancy brand new revamped YouTube channel that now has actual video.
And if you don't like what you see, well, neither do we. But if you want to hear from smarter, better, more educated, and cultured people, please check out the new podcasts. This Is Not My Magnum Opus and The Weekly with Kiki on our brand new Could Be Better podcast network. And don't hesitate to leave us or them, actually, probably just them, a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, Chris, did I miss anything?
Yeah, man, we do a lot of shows. Whatever.
Well, can I find them on our website?
I'm Chris Perry.
And I'm Colin McGuire, and we are out of time. So for now, remember everybody, this always could be better.